And the teams are ready, and we are about to get underway here at Nagawaki Park in Delafield.
Dom Caston's kicking off, one of the top scorers last year from the Harlequins.
And ref's going to blow that whistle. Didn't like what he saw there. Looks like it was a bit of a knock-on. We're going to have a scrum down. It's going to go to the East Side Banshees out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. First scrum down of the match.
Looks like that put-in's going to be by the Harlequins. Jeff Noe, number 9, Wisconsin rep player.
I apologize. My mistake.
Teams are coming together. Shoot back. Get to the back of the ruck. Cleared up for the backs.
That's Dom Singleton there. Is going to pass it off to number 14. He's brought down. We've got a ruck for him. Jeff Noe, the scrum half, is in there trying to support that ball. He actually gets it. Gets clean ball out to Sands Falk, number 10. Straight through the line. Able to pass it off. We got a ruck formed here. Passed out again. Number 10, Sands, bounced off the knee. That's not a knock-on.
Harlequins are recycling it extremely well so far.
Looks like we're going to have a fast start to this game. Again, both of these clubs are known for backline play, so we're going to see possibly a very high-scoring match here.
Looks like the ref didn't like that knock on the knee. He's going to call a knock on against the Harlequins. It's going to be Banshees put in on this scrum down. That knock on was done by number 12, Dom Caston.
Put in by the Banshees. You see Jeff Noe there approaching the scrum half. Attacks the scrum half as soon as he gets the ball out. Referee Brad Cassetta is going to blow that up again. Looks like we're going to have another scrum down, this time to the Harlequins.
Another knock on by the Banshees there. Looks like a little nerves at the beginning of the game here, Art.
Again, the first part of the game, you tend to feel each other out just a little bit. That's a lot of what these first scrums are. It's a bit of expressing who's going to dominate in the forwards, but they're both teams want to set the tone for the style of play. You know, as you see here, the Harlequins with a big surge right up front.
Clean ball off the back. Big George Hoffman picks it up, number 8, Wisconsin rep player. Goes to ground. We got a ruck formed. Fast, quick ball for the Harlequins. Comes out for the backs.
Jeff Noe's going to pass it out to Sands Falk again. He's going to throw it wide. Dom Singleton with a kick.
Tempted grubber.
Try to push that through the gap there. The defense kicked it back forward. Going to be Banshees' ball here if they can hold on to it.
Banshees coming over, supporting that ball. Trying to get clean ball here. Banshees are going to kick for positioning. That ball is going to stay inside, though. And the Harlequins are going to run this back up. That's Sands Falk again, number 10. He passes it off after the tackle to number 14.
Mark Tobin.
That's Mark Tobin again. Harlequins keeping the ball. Good. Oh.
And they've turned it over. They spilled it, and the Banshees have recovered. They're going to try and take this opportunity to attack and get up to the halfway line.
You see the Banshees are going to advance the ball. We've got a ruck for them. They're going to try and take the ball straight up. They're just going to keep driving this ball, try and take it up. They're not going to pass it wide, it looks like, just yet. They're just going to try and walk it forward. All they need to do is make 3 or 4 meters every time they take this ball up. You get enough of those, you're going to get yourself a try. And it looks like we've got a penalty against the Harlequins here. The Harlequins are going to retreat 10 meters. Brad Cassetta, your sir, saw something he didn't like there, warning the Harlequins. It's an early penalty call. And the sir, too, also has to be able to set the tone for the match. He's got to show that he's going to be the one to keep the rules, because these players will attempt to push the sir's buttons and see how much they can get away with at the early part of this match.
Yeah, Art, the referee can really slow down the game or let it go, depending on the referee, and Brad's got a lot of experience. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of open play today.
Oh, absolutely. He's been refereeing in Wisconsin here or sir in Wisconsin, for the last 10 years. Great pass
Big
by
move.
Jeff
He's
Hoffman.
open.
That's number 6, Mike Rudy, running up the field. Look at those long legs. He's got the stride.
All
He's
the
in the
way.
try zone. Look at that.
Great try. Excellent offload to start this piece by Sands Falk in contact. Commits the defender, opens it up. Mike Rudy hits the gap, stretches it out for the try.
Congratulations to the flanker.
Nice job. That's going to make that West Side Harlequins 5, East Side Banshees 0. As we're going to set up for the conversion, it looks like Dom Caston's going to attempt this conversion here. Now, the try is, of course, worth 5 points. The conversion, or in American football, the comparable thing would be the extra point kick. This is actually worth 2 points in rugby. So if he makes this, it will actually be 7 points. Let's see what he's going to do.
Dom Caston's our kicker. He's one of our leading point scorers from the spring season with 15 successful conversion kicks last season. And the try scorer, Mike Rudy there, you see number 6. It's his first points for the year. He's going to be happy about that at the end of the game.
Dom Caston, if I'm not mistaken, a former soccer player.
We promised him we would never actually bring that up, but yes, that is actually true.
I'm sorry then, Dom.
Now, Dom is a former soccer player. It's one of the things that gives him that fantastic kicking ability. Dom actually did make that conversion, not on camera, but we're going to have a score of Milwaukee Westside Harlequins 7, Eastside Banshees out of Minneapolis, Minnesota 0. And that's the first try scored in the game.
Banshees are going to restart now, hopefully going to collect this ball back. Big George Hoffman picks it up and takes it upfield, going to set up the platform for the next phase.
Nice stiff arm.
Excellent placement. Jeff Noe gets some clean ball, gets it out for the backs.
Now that's a fast try scored by the Harlequins. We're within about the first 4 minutes here. So we're gonna see how the Banshees are gonna respond to this. Now, you can respond one of two ways. Either it's, it can demoralize you, or it can motivate you to come right back and get that try back. We'll see how the Banshees handle that.
Looks like we have a line out coming up here. Ball's gone off the field. We're gonna have to restart play with the line out. Art, I always thought the line out resembled an 8-man jump ball in basketball. What do you think?
That's about what it looks like, but the only difference being is that you actually have lifters, and actually we're going to see a scrum down here. But we'll talk about the line out. You can actually lift the jumpers in a line out in rugby. As you see the ball put in here by the Banshees. Scrum half's going to try and get that out.
Banshees having a lot of trouble with the scrum down. Quins pick it up and sends. Falk is off, always running with the ball in hand. Number 10, he's our orchestra leader today. He'll be dictating pace for the Harlequins the entire game.
Absolutely. He's the quarterback, if you will. When Sands gets the ball, he's going to decide how the offense is going to pace it, either forwards or backs. It's his job to dish it off. Let's see what kind of job he does today as we have another scrum down here.
Can't see where the referee's calling advantage here. We'll have to have a closer look. We'll see who's going to put the ball in. It's on the far side of the scrum. That means Banshee ball.
That's Frank Cassidy, the scrum half. They call him Frankie Four Fingers. Passed out.
Why is that, Art?
At that point, quite honestly, Vic, I didn't ask for clarification.
Banshees taking it up, but it's been pinched by the Harlequins. Mark Fine tries to chip through, but it's collected nicely by the Banshees. We've got a tackle and a ruck down. The referee doesn't like it.
Harlequin defense buttoning that right up. But we've got a stoppage by referee Brad Cassetta. Appears to be a penalty against the Harlequins.
I think one of the Harlequins made an infraction in the ruck there. Referee's letting him know he doesn't like it. Guy's going to kick for position. We'll have a line out following the kick.
Number 10, John Woodyard's going to kick this for position. Send it on down the field. Sends it out of bounds. Since the penalty was against the Harlequins, the Banshees were able to kick it straight out of bounds. Wherever that ball goes out of bounds, at that point on the sideline is where they get to throw it back in. And again, you'll see the line out here. What'll happen is both squads will line up a certain amount of men, and they will decide how many on either side. One of the experimental rules this year, you do not have to, the defense does not have to match the offense, but the man throwing in the ball here, that's number 1, Ben Ficklin. He's going to throw it straight down the middle of this tunnel, and both teams will be able to jump for the ball, which in this case is going to be recovered.
They're going to take it upfield, another ruck, and hopefully release their backs, but the Harlequins have pinched it, and Dom Singleton's chipped through, leaving a lot of work for the winger to get back and clear that ball out.
He's going to kick it straight out, not taking any chances with being that close to his own try zone.
And there you see Dylan on the left. You look good in the light, Dylan. Nicely done.
Thank you very much. You can tell I've been working out.
We've got another line out here, this one for the Harlequins.
Still deep in Banshee territory. We go up with Jeff Hoffman. Great take. Excellent pass to Jeff Noe. He gets it out to Sandsfall, number 10. Never shying away from the contact. That's a green ruck to Harlequins. Referee's bringing it back. He's seen something in the line out. Looks like the Banshees were offside, and Jeff Noe takes it quick passes it out to the wing. Joe Kloiber passes it out. Looks like we're taking it a touch. It's going to be another line out.
That's Mitch Kaya there, UW Whitewater alum.
Great interplay between the forwards there, Art. A lot of great passing skills there. These guys played together a long time. You see the skill coming out. It's not just the backs who can run and pass. Those forwards got great hands also.
Oh, and one of the things about rugby is that anybody on the field can play any position. Forwards become backs, backs become forwards. And a simple way to understand the difference between the two, there's actually two ways. One, the forwards have the lower numbers. They're usually the ones in the scrum. The backs have the higher numbers. They're spread out on the bigger part of the field. Otherwise, you can always look at the difference in body weight. Forwards are typically bigger individuals. The backs, a little smaller. They have to run a little faster. Not always shorter, just thinner.
Tom Cass is going to take a shot at goal here from the penalty, try and get a few points out of it. One of the best goal kickers on the team. Great history with the club. You see he slots that over pretty well, no problem.
So that will bring the score to Milwaukee Harlequins 10, Eastside Banshees out of Minneapolis 0. So we're going to start with it. We're going to have another restart. The Banshees are going to kick off to restart this. So we're going to get a lineup here. The Harlequins have jumped out with a 10-0 lead rather early. We're about 8 minutes into this first half. The first half, this is an 80-minute game. The halves are 40 minutes apiece. There you see the restart there.
Just to clarify, Art, there, the video glitch. We've got missed a try there. We had a try get in, and Cassidy converted. Current score is 12-0 for the Harlequins.
Fantastic.
If you're a Harlequin fan, that's good news.
Harlequins up the field again with a big boot.
Banshees are recovering here again, kicking for some position. They give up possession here. It's going to be Harlequins throw in on the line out, but they've gained a little ground, hoping to defend against more attack by the Quins.
Harlequins are putting some very good pressure on the Banshees. You see they kicked it right down into Banshee territory and then pursued the ball very fast. Banshees really had no choice but to kick that out of bounds, so the Banshees once again find themselves deep in their own territory. See the line out. Jeff Hoffman again picks it, tosses it right down to Jeff Noe. He goes right back to Sands Falk. That's a combination we've already seen a couple of times into this match.
Just the communication between those guys is excellent. See a nice flat pass, attacking platform for Sands Falk. Goes into contact, sets up the ruck for the next phase. Referee's got a knock on there. Looks like it's going to be a scrum down to the Banshees. Happens when you have these fast passes and a lot of action. We'll see a lot more of that today, I'm sure.
Now, Vic, you mentioned a knock-on. What exactly is a knock-on for the viewers at home?
Well, you can think of it as like a passing forward, which is allowed in football, of course, but not in rugby. But so even if you're not trying to pass, if you knock it forward, for instance, accidentally, it's considered what we call a forward pass. Illegal in this case. This minor infraction gives a scrum down to the opposite team.
Fantastic. Looks like we've got a penalty here. Sands Falk's going to tap and take. Pass it right out to the back line. Here you go. You see an overload here. Looks like the Harlequins have got some room to run. Brought down. Another penalty here. Oh, that was a try. Excuse me. That is a try scored. Very nicely done. That's Dom Singleton, number 15.
Dom Singleton's our second leading scorer from the spring season. Last year he got in for 8 tries, a total of 40 points, and an average of 40 points per game. Dom doesn't want us to know this. 10 points per game average. He missed a few games because of a suspension last year, but his per game average is still very high, making him the second most productive player on the field.
That conversion is going to be a little bit wide, so we're going to...
We're at 19-0, about 13 minutes played in the game.
There you see Dom Cast a little disappointed in himself after missing that conversion. He doesn't like to miss too many. Again, as we said, he's got the magical feet. He doesn't miss them often, and when he does, it really makes him redouble his efforts to make another one. As you see everybody preparing for the restart here. Looks like that's number 10 again, John Woodyard, the fly half, giving the kick. Oh, and you see number 20 there on the Banshees.
Tap back.
That's Charlie Johnson, the second row. Ran up there and tapped it back with the score 19-0, the Milwaukee Harlequins. Banshees are certainly not about to lie down and take this. He's going to run up and try and tap that ball back so on the kickoff they get possession of it.
Yeah, possession's going to be...
I beg your pardon, Vic. On that
Go
last
ahead.
try, you saw great recognition by the players as to great communication as to where the next player was going to be. Crisp passing and another try.
This time by the Banshees. That's number 15, Brett Weber. That's a snowflake on the Eastside Banshee Club. That's going to make that score Westside Harlequins 19, Eastside Banshees 5. They're going to try for this conversion.
Great response by the Banshees. Looked like the Quins might take it away for a minute there, but they responded. They recovered that ball off the restart and got it out wide to the wing. beat a couple defenders for the try. Great try.
I'm sure that's going to put a little starch in the Banshees' collar to be able to answer the Quins like that.
They really need this conversion here.
He's setting it up. He's taking his time on this conversion. And the Harlequins, the Banshees may have actually caught the Harlequins just sleeping a little bit. They're up to a 19-0 lead at the time. We're not quite 15 minutes into this game. And that conversion is good, which is going to give us a score. The West Side Harlequins 19, the East Side Banshees 7. Again, the Harlequins may have been caught just a little lax. They went up 19-0 in the first 15 minutes of the game. Maybe they thought they could maybe take a little bit of a breather. The Banshees, number 15, Brett Weber, the wing, showed them absolutely they are not going to be able to take any sort of breathers. This game is far from over. As to see Steve Sivier on the sideline there, great Wisconsin referee, touch judge today, assistant referee.
The Harlequins find themselves in the unusual position of having to do a restart kick, Art.
Absolutely, and here we go. Dom Caston's going to start this back off to the Banshees, taken down. They're going to try and run it straight upfield. Makes about 3 or 4 meters on there. It's rucked over. Oh, ball is lost to the Harlequins. Passed over to Sands Falk, who's going to dish it right away. And they're going to try and swing this a little bit wide. Use that great speed on the Harlequins. That's Mark Fines going to dish it off.
Excellent ball work. You see the Harlequins retaining the ball, passing it amongst themselves in contact. Really quality rugby today from the Harlequins.
Very good passing on the Harlequins. I mean, they're just, especially look at Sands Falk. He's just all over the field there, just trying to make something happen, but being very patient. Everybody's trying to make sure it's team ball. They're not trying to run it up and get individual glory. If you notice, they're trying to make sure the team scores, working together for the one common goal of getting it across that try line. And there's Sands Falk, going to go right through the center post, touches it down. We've got another try. That's about 17 minutes into the first half. That's going to make it Westside Harlequin 24, Eastside Banshees 7.
Boy, I couldn't see a hole there, but he apparently did.
Sands Falk's been playing so long. He's been playing with this club since he was 18 years old. We actually lost him when he moved out to California for a couple of years. Played out there, came back just a completely different player. Very much matured while he was out there, and he's just been fantastic to us since he's come back. He's been here for a couple of years now.
Had a great season in the spring. He averaged about 4.2 points per game, 3 tries, and 5 conversions. He's our alternate conversion kicker also. Really well-rounded player. Total score right now 26-7 for the Harlequins. Got about 23 minutes left to play here in the first 40-minute half. How's it looking, Art?
Well, it's looking pretty good. Everybody's still looking pretty fresh on the field as you see Sands Falk with the samurai hairdo there. They're still looking pretty fresh, but it's a hot day out here. It's Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's very warm as you see the restart there by the Banshees.
I think Sands Falk brought that haircut back from California, I think, Art.
He actually did, as a matter of fact.
Ball popped.
Always a Maverick style as Sands Falk, yet always somehow seems to make it his own.
Mike Rudy there picking up the loose ball from the Banshees ruck. A little bit of obstruction, though. The referee's going to send it back 10 meters. 10 meters, that's about 10 yards, Art.
That's correct. For those of you who want to do the conversion at home, a meter is basically a yard. A rugby field is 100 meters or 110 yards long. Almost the same length as a football field, just a little bit longer.
Banshees kick it out, gaining about 15 meters. They're going to have a line out there where the referee's showing the flag, the assistant referee. So we're going to have a line out to the Banshees.
That's Todd Streeter, another great Wisconsin rugby player. Runs the club at UW Parkside for us. Fantastic. He's a referee here. He's been playing rugby in Wisconsin for many, many years. You see the throw in here by number 1. That's Ben Ficklin for the Banshees. It's going to be brought down, and it looks like that might not have been in quite straight. Brad Giussetta is going to give the Harlequins a choice. They can either take the scrum or the line out since it wasn't thrown in straight. Harlequins are going to go with what brought them, and they're going to go for the scrum, it looks like.
At both the scrum and the line-out, Art, it's critical to put that ball straight down between both sets of players competing for the ball.
Absolutely. The referee's going to keep a very close eye on the fact that you've got to keep that ball right in the middle of where it's supposed to be so nobody gets an undue advantage. You see Sands Falk passing it out. We're going to get a kick down the run as the Harlequins are going to try and go for a little positioning there. Number 15, Brett Weber, just a bit over his head, recovered. He's going to try and take a run. Goes for the pass.
Great ball distribution, good attacking for the Banshees. Little knock on there by, looks like number 6, Mark Rudy.
Yeah,
Might
Mike
have
Rudy just danced off his hands just a little bit. It was coming a little too fast for him, not necessarily his fault.
Now, let's say the viewers at home are watching this match and they're thinking, I would love to get involved in the local rugby scene. How would I go about doing that? What are the resources that they can check out?
Well, Dylan, I'm glad you asked that question. And for those viewing at home, the best way to check out the local rugby scene, especially here in the Milwaukee area, is log on to www.milwaukeeharlequins.com. That's our website. That'll tell you where we play, when the practice time is. It'll also lead you to our social hangout, which is our sponsor bar, our sponsor today, a matter of fact, the Sin Bin Sports Bar, 3830 West National. Josh at the Sin Bin is actually sponsoring the game. Go to the www.milwaukeeharlequins.com. It'll tell you everything you need to know about coming out and getting involved for the Harlequins.
Looks like action stopped here again. The referee's got a tight control over this game. It's going to be a Quins line out, it looks like, in the next phase here. What do you think, Art?
Well, let's see. The referee seems to be admonishing the players just a little bit, telling them what's going to happen where. Referee's got to do a lot to keep control of this game. There's only 3 referees, but 2 of them are on the sidelines, only 1 on the field. So it's incumbent upon the referee to keep a bit of control on the game, as you see he's doing here. Signals a free kick to the Banshees. They're going to take a quick tap, go straight up. You see Brad Cassetta keeping his eye on the match.
Joe Kloiber there to make the tackle.
Banshees trying to work good ball. They're trying to get good phase rugby here. They're trying to just keep control, slow the pace of the game down. The Harlequins back line has had great success running for tries today. The Banshees have to slow that down, make sure they keep possession of the ball.
Another turnover for the Banshees.
Banshees had a nice loop play there. Looked like they made an attack. Looks like they knocked it on a little, though, and the Quins took advantage, kicked it through, forcing the Banshees a touchdown in their own end zone. We're going to have a 22-meter dropout, Art.
Absolutely, and what's going to happen here is they're going to go to the 22-meter line, and they're going to basically restart. They're going to kick it through. Now that ball only has to cross that line you see in front of your screen here. It's only got to cross it. Typically the ball has to go 10 meters. Not in this case, however. We're going to see what the Banshees are going to do. They're going to take this opportunity here, though, to slow it down just a bit. Now they give it a boot, and they decide to kick it quite a ways down the field. It's going to be recovered by the Harlequins. Let's see what they do with this ball.
That's Dom Caston.
Ooh.
Deacon and moving there.
Takes one defender down with him, goes right on in.
Jeff Noe tangled up by his opposite number 9.
That means the scrum half's in. He's like your quarterback. You see Mitch Kaya stepping in, taking the ball, just making 1-2 meters, just enough to get control of the ball, let Jeff Noe recover a bit, get out. The pass goes just a little bit errantly, wasn't recovered, but picked back up by the Harlequins. Squirts back out on the Banshee side.
Banshees are going to have a little opportunity here, going to try and move it down the short side.
Oh, look at number 11 there, just take a run.
Great smothering tackle.
Brent Jenerex there tried to go, but that sideline caught him just a little bit. Todd Streeter right on top of it.
Banshees carried it out of bounds. That means it's going to be Harlequins' ball. Looks like a line out coming up.
Remember, folks, you're watching Time Warner Cable Sports Channel 32. You've got the West Side Harlequins, 26. The East Side Banshees with a score of 7 here.
A little sloppy there between the 9 and the jumper, but it's nice and tight now. Mark Fine breaks through.
Number
Lots
13,
of room. Number 13
going for a run.
wasn't held into the tackle. Didn't have to let go of the ball like you normally do when you're tackled. Harlequins maintain possession. Banshee's got a hand on it, but lots of great ball moving
Crisp
here.
passing.
Joseph Kloiber recovered that ball.
Number 14, Tobin, back into 7. That's Ben Smith, the captain. Ball turned over there, but he makes a great defensive tackle on the Banshees, who were forced to kick it out. Going to be another line out.
Ben Smith, of course, once again played for the Racine Raiders, our semi-pro American football team here just south of Milwaukee. He was the captain of the national championship squad.
And he's the captain on the Harlequins also, voted by his peers.
Absolutely. Ben Smith, just a fantastic athlete. He's been playing here for several years. He's been captain here for several years. Just all-around fantastic athlete as you see this line out. Todd Streeter indicating that it is actually Harlequin line out. Going to be tossed in. Big Jeff Hoffman's going to bring that down right to Jeff Noe, right to Sans Falk again. And the Harlequins come straight through the gate.
Great protection of the ball in that ruck. You see him go down and make sure the Banshees can't come over and pinch the ball. A little pinch through by Sans Falk. What are the Banshees going to do? Looks like they have to touch it down in the end zone. Ball squirted out. They picked it up. Going to kick it into open field. It's still in play, looks like.
That's live.
Look at this pressure on by the Harlequins onto the Banshees. They are just going right up to their try line. And I will grant, and mind you, the Banshees are often kicking it out of bounds, kicking it back down the field. But the Harlequins just keep coming back, putting that pressure on them.
A little bit of a tussle there between number 7 on the Banshees and Mark Tobin, number 14. Banshees might be a little upset with the scoreline here, getting a little frustrated.
Well, this is rugby. It's a very physical sport. It's a safe sport, but occasionally you will see the occasional little tussle. But the referee, Brad Cassetta, a veteran referee, he's played the sport. He knows the game. He knows the emotions of the players can get a little out of hand at times. His job is to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. This is a game that should be decided by competition, not by punching.
Got to the next ruck here. It's going to be a Banshees ball straight down the tunnel. Squeezed out a little early for the scrum half. Jeff Noe's all over it. Referee's got his hand in the air. Looks like Jeff may have been a little offside there.
Just a little bit. Again, you're not allowed to impede the other scrum half as he's trying to get the ball. Jeff Noe may have jumped just a little bit early. We call that air of eagerness.
Happens all the time, Mark.
Yes, it does. Yes,
Well,
it
I'm
does.
sure going into this game, Jeff Noe knew what he had to do. He was just a little ahead of the game that particular time. But if he pays attention 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a good defensive play by him.
No question. Jeff Noe's got the experience. He's a select side player. Jeff Noe's got the experience.
He's got the experience. He's a select side player. Coaches here at Nagawaki Park every Monday through Thursday, coaches girls rugby. Ladies, don't think this is just a man's sport. Women play this sport. In fact, women make up 40% of the rugby players in the world. Come on out. Again, Nagawaki Park. We're on Route 83, just north of 94 West. Come on out. Give it a try. Rugby, we will take anybody if you want to come out and play. All you have to do is come out and run a little bit. We'll teach you how to do the rest of it. It's a great sport. See, we have a stoppage in play here again.
Looks like the Harlequins had a little knock on, but there's another infraction predating. Referee goes back to the first infraction when there's more than one that happens. And we'll see here Caston kicking for some distance, hoping for a good line out.
Harlequins are going to kick for a bit of positioning here. They're going to try and put this a little farther, a little closer to the Banshee try zone. See if they can't get some more momentum going here. It's gone out. It's going to be Harlequin line out.
Yeah, they're really deep into Banshees territory here. Banshees going to have to work hard to defend against this. They really can't go any farther in deficit here on the scoreboard if they're hoping to come back.
Absolutely. You see Brad Cassetta there. He's making sure there's a good meter gap in that line out. Wants to absolutely be sure that the players have a safe environment in which to jump up, try and get that ball down. So the line out is over.
Art, I was very impressed there. It kind of looked like you weren't saying actually what your lips were moving. Are you a ventriloquist, Art?
On occasion I am. Absolutely. As you see the Harlequins take the ball here.
Another stoppage in play here. You know, we're about...
We've got a knock on by the Harlequins. We're going to have a scrum down to the east side Banshees.
We've got about 10 minutes left in the half, Art. The guys got to be a little winded now, maybe looking forward to that halftime break. You know, it's only 5 minutes in rugby.
Yes, that's true. You play 2 40-minute halves in rugby. You get a 5-minute break. Just long enough to catch your breath, but you don't want to start letting the stiffness and soreness. As you see in this game, folks at home, if you've never played it before, the game never really stops unless the ball goes out of bounds or there's a penalty. So it's all running and tackling the entire time. You see Jeff Noe there. Fantastic job. As soon as that ball was out of that scrum, he jumped right on it. He was absolutely in the right. Brad Cassetta says let it go, and the game continues.
Brad's on top of it, keeping all the backs on side behind the back foot of the scrummage. We've got a guy diving over from the Banshees. Sans Falk is going to take it quick and spread it wide towards the left side. Spread it through the backs.
Might have caught the Banshees sleeping just a little bit. They weren't quite back 10. Number 13 there looks like, from the Banshees, looks like he jumped up in the air trying to make something happen. That's Chris Choirboy Edwards.
He's trying to intercept a pass there from big 8-man George Hoffman. His real name is Jeff. Do you know why they call him George, Art? I never could figure that out myself.
That is a Whitewater legend that is best told by the man himself.
Perhaps we'll get him on camera one day.
I'm sure he'd be more than happy to tell the stories. You see Jeff Noe, we're going to run, the Harlequins are going to run a penalty play here. They're going to tap that ball, give it to big Joseph Kloiber, who's going to take it in. Notice how you see 2 guys tackle him. Now that's 2 guys that are now taken out of the next phase of play. As you see, he's passing that ball off. That next player may have been a little close. Sans Falk getting that ball. He's going to take it straight in.
Pops it up. You see great interaction here. A lot of ball passage in contact. Excellent rugby skills. Referee sees an infraction by the Banshees. It's going to be another penalty for the Harlequins.
That looks like a knock on there. from the Banshees. Looks like we're going to have – no, I'm sorry. We had a knock-on by the Harlequins as they were taking it in. So we're going to have a scrum down to the Banshees. But they're pretty close to their own try zone there. They're probably about maybe 5-10 meters out tops. In fact, I take that back. That flag would indicate 5 meters out. So the Harlequins are going to do whatever they can to steal this ball.
What do we expect the Banshees to do if they win the ball here?
They should kick this wide. Oh, it looks like they're going to pass it. And it looks like it might have dribbled out of bounds.
Bit of a dangerous play, but that ball in their own end zone was so close to the try line.
Well, we're about 30 minutes into this first half here, and what we've got is the Harlequins are up 26-7. This is a good time again to take a chance. See if you can make something work. The Harlequins are going to expect the Banshees to take the ball and just try and kick it as far away from their try zone as they possibly can. So if you don't do that, you have the weapon of surprise. Might not have worked out as well as they would have liked.
Great interplay between the forwards and backs there. We got it going from the 8 to the fly half. Sands Falk distributes it well. Banshees have pinched it. They're forced to touch it down in their own end zone.
And it looks like that's going to lead to a 5-meter scrum down. You see him walking. There's some hands on their knees there. Everybody's getting a little tired. It's very hot out there. It's late August in Milwaukee. We got a temperature of about 82 degrees. It's getting just a little tiring out there. The boys are sweating. They don't quite have the same spring in their step. As you see another scrum down here. Banshees are going to put this one in. As you see number 9, Frank Cassidy, holding the ball, the scrum half. He's going to put this in here, see what the Banshees can do with it.
Ball's come out a little messy for the Banshees. Again, through the end zone.
Look at Ben Smith there. Just run right up and try and get that ball. You see, that's respect from the players there. Both of them knew that Ben Smith made the run. Banshee player may have a little bit of an issue with it, but he's saying he didn't quite have his hands on the ball when he was tackled. The player must be holding the ball. But again, that's eagerness. You were in your try zone.
See how fast the captain rushed in there. If he had been able to touch that ball down, that would have been another 5 points. An easy try for the Harlequins.
Now it's the scrum down with a Harlequin ball. The Harlequins have a great opportunity to make another try here. Let's see if they can keep this ball controlled. Jeff Noe's going to take this ball, swing it wide out to Sands Falk there. Looks like he may have a hole. Great pass off there. Jeff Hoffman with the try, the 8-man.
Great try at 32 minutes by George Hoffman. One of the things the Harlequins have really been doing well this game, passing that ball in contact, making lots of opportunity. See George walking back. He'll be happy with that one tonight.
So that brings the score to 31 Westside Harlequins, 7 for the Eastside Banshees as Dominic Caston's going to go for another conversion here. That was absolutely unselfish play, guys. If you notice, there were a number of passes there, and they were within 5 meters. No one person wanted to score that ball. They just wanted the team to score, and that's so important in rugby. As you see Caston lining up for this. Number 12, and he drains it.
Good.
Absolutely drains it, which is going to bring the score 33 for the West Side Harlequins, 7 for the East Side Banshees.
Caston is now 4 for 5 in kicks. He's our conversion specialist. He's really hitting them today. Just hit that one short that was a little wide a few minutes back. But that's where that's his bread and butter. Kicking conversions all day long. You don't see him miss them very often.
A good kicker is so essential to a rugby club. You certainly can win without one, but it makes it so much easier when you have one. It just allows, as you see a shot of the great fans here at Nagawaki Park in Waukesha, Wisconsin. As you see the restart.
You see how Banshees won their own kickoff there. Very hard to do. It's kind of like an onside kick in football. Very, very difficult skill to master, but they've maintained possession here, and they're inside the Quins half for essentially only the second time in the first 33 minutes.
That looked like number 20 again, Charlie Jumpin' Johnson up there, tipping that ball back, making something happen for the Banshees.
Well, they need something. They need something to happen here. They need to answer quickly. At this point, they're bordering on demoralization. They need to make something happen quickly.
You're right, Dylan. They need something to go into the halftime and really, really pump them up so they come back in the second half, fired up and ready to take on these Quins for another 40 minutes.
You see Sands Falk's going to pass this again. Mark Fine's going to put a foot on it, a little grubber kick there, and inching toward the sideline.
You see Mark Tobin, number 14, chase that up, but his opposite number on the wing for the Banshees. Smart to let that roll out. giving the Banshees the throw in. Had he touched that ball and then it went out of bounds, would have been a line out to the Quins. But he knew what he was doing. Very experienced player on the wing. We're going to have a Banshees line out.
That looked like the feet of Brett Weber there, number 15.
He monograms his cleats, I'm told.
Well, there are certain things that backs do for luck, you know, hairspray, makeup, things of that nature.
Spoken like a former prop.
Prop for 10 years. As we see another line out here, that's dished back. Wow. Looks like Mitch Kaya just came straight through the line. Perfect take of that ball as it was tipped back through the Banshees.
Garrett Meyer cleaning it up there, producing really fast. Great ball for number 9. Out to 10, Sans Falk. Gets hit hard, but it's all right. The ball's on the far side of the pitch. Great distribution going straight hands down the line. That looks like Ben Nerschel out there. Looks like he's in for 5.
There it is.
Absolutely, Ben Nerschel.
You know, good, tight, crisp passing.
You know, I think the referee may have seen something there. Is he going to give the try? No.
No.
Looks like it's been held up.
As you see, the referee held his 2 hands above the other there. That signifies the ball was not touched down in goal. So we're going to have a 5-meter scrum to the Harlequins as the Harlequins took it in. You see the referee checking his time there. Referee is actually the official timekeeper of the match.
Great defense there by the Banshees to hold that ball up.
So it's not enough to just cross the line.
That's right, Dylan. You actually have to touch the ball physically to the ground with downward pressure. If you knock it forward, as I described earlier, that would not be a try. And just going over the line is not enough. You got to have clean, clear possession and get that touchdown. And that's where I believe the word comes from in NFL football.
That's where I'd heard that before.
Yeah, I will take your word for that.
Noe again out. Quick pass out to Mark Fine. Oh, and it's intercepted by the Banshees.
It looks like 15 on the Banshees. Brett Weber again. That's great positioning for him to just take that ball. The pass was just a little high for Mark Fine. Not really his fault. As you see number 7 there taking it in for the Banshees. That's Chris Stapleton.
They clear it out now. They're going to be looking to clear their lines. They don't want to run it out from that close. And it looks like we've kicked it out again, the fullback. And we're going to have another line out to the Harlequins inside the Banshees 22-meter line.
By the way, you can get that action figure there, care of the Milwaukee Harlequins website.
That's right, and I believe Walmart also carries them next to the Clone Wars display, Dylan.
There you go.
You see they're going to set up for another line out here.
And you see Art, you're getting your props on the screen.
There we go, number 2. The hooker's going to throw this thing in. Now, boy, Brad Cassetta.
Garrett Meyer.
Garrett Meyer. Brad Cassetta's making sure again. He's got a good line out here. We've had a good, clean game thus far.
Why is his hand up like that, Art?
What his hand is signifying there is there's 2, as you see behind the goalpost there, the back lines are lined up 10 meters on the each side of each line out. Once the lineouts progress to 1.5 meters, they're allowed to advance. Not until that point, however, as you see the ruck and maul here.
Mike Rudy getting around there, doesn't want to get called for offsides. But we've driven through here. We've got a try coming up. Looks like another try for the Quins. I'm sorry we can't see the player, but we're going to have another conversion kick here by Dom Caston.
As Brad Cassetta's writing down the score, the referee actually keeps the score in his notebook. Right now he's going to write it down as the Harlequins 38 to the Eastside Banshees 7. Looks like we've got about 2 minutes left in this half here.
Just a quick correction there. It looks like that's 40. It's going to be 38 to 7.
40 to 7 looks like it's actually going to be the as the judges are telling us through the headphones here. Looks like it's 40 to 7. We are going to wait for the conversion. If he makes this, it'll be 42 to 7. You see him lining this up. He's about 10 meters to the left.
This is a tough kick. You notice how much farther he has to kick it at such an angle.
Looks like this one's going to be good, and the referee's flag signify the kick is good. The assistant referees there again, Steve Sivier. On the other side, it's Todd Streeter. That's going to give us a score of the Milwaukee West Side Harlequins 42, the East Side Banshees out of Minneapolis 7. And the Harlequins are really doing a great job of keeping that ball possession.
That's right. You know, they're not really giving up much on defense, and they're really capitalizing on the mistakes of the Banshees. There's only 2 minutes left here, Dylan. I think it's time, as you said earlier, the Banshees have to respond.
Yeah, it's now or never for them. They've always been good after the restarts. Let's see if this can be the same.
I think you called it, Dylan. Looks like he recovered that ball pretty nicely. Referee's keeping everyone on side.
Again, the players must be behind the last foot of the ruck. Players in rugby must be behind the ball. That's one of the big differences between American football and rugby. You cannot block. The guy with the ball must be the first one into the tackle.
Ball came out on the Harlequin side there. They tried to do a clearing kick, a little misfire on the kick there. The referee's going to have it again.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Banshees at this point in the game with this kind of deficit. The greater the deficit, the more predictable your offense becomes.
And it looks like that's the end of the first half here, folks. We've got a score of the Milwaukee Westside Harlequins 42, the Eastside Banshees out of Minneapolis, Minnesota 7. You're watching Time Warner Cable Sports Channel 32. That's halftime for USA Rugby. We'll be back in just one moment.
Again at all the lineouts, Eric Steinman's our other prop. 4 and 5 are Rob Jacobs and Mitch Kaya. And then we go to the back row. We got Ben Smith, the captain, and Mike Rudy, who's at number 6, followed by George Hoffman. Big George we call him. He's our number 8. You saw him score a little while ago. Looks like the referees bring it back to halfway. That ball goes straight out, Art?
Yes, it did.
Just to finish up on our backs here, we got Jeff Noe at 9. Our orchestra leader, Sans Falk, at 10. Mark Tobin at 11. He's our winger. Centers, Dom Caston and Mark Fine. Our other winger, Ben Nerschel, and of course Dom Singleton at fullback, number 15.
You see Sands coming fast around the side of the scrum there, out to Dom Singleton, right out to 14. He's got the corner. He's going to take a run here. Ooh, and he stepped just out of bounds before that pass. That pass would have gone a bit errant anyway. Steve Sivier, the touch judge, right on top of that. And we've got a line out right at the 22-meter line of the Banshees.
Great attack by the Harlequins off the back of that scrum. Shoestring tackle. Jeff Hoffman got it to Noe, and then a reverse play around the close side. Except for that last tackle there, that would have been another try for the Harlequins.
That's number 1 on the east side Banshees. That's Ben Ficklin. He's going to try and donut toss this one right down the middle. See, he's keeping the good meter gap. Banshees have recovered it, tipped it back, but it's mishandled a little bit. Let's see if the Harlequins can grab this. Brad Cassetto's going to blow the whistle, saw something he didn't like. Bit of a knock-on there by the Banshees. We're going to have a scrum down to the Harlequins.
Looks like that knock-on was in the air during the line-out. Harlequins have chosen for another scrum. Of course, this is a great platform to attack from. Wouldn't you agree, Art?
Oh, look at that. They're right at the about 10-meter line out. They're just knocking at the door of the Banshees try zone. If you see Jeff Noe, he's going to put this in. Jeff Hoffman takes it right to Noe, right to Sands Falk, to number 12. Look at that. Fine coming right up the center. Ooh, bit of a high tackle there. Brad Cassetto's going to award that try. Got to keep those tackles below the shoulders. You start horse collaring guys above the neck, it gets very, very dangerous. And as a guy who had to retire with a neck injury, I know all about dangerous high tackles. And as a referee, of course, who always keeps an eye out for that. Just to let everyone know, safety is paramount in this game. Most of the laws, not rules but laws, actually exist in rugby for safety purposes. Nobody really wants to get hurt during this game, no matter what the reputation of the game is. It's a very safe game. Statistically, there are a lot less injuries in rugby than there are in soccer. It's a very brutal game, very hardcore, very fast-paced, as you see Dom Caston make another conversion. But it's a very, very, very safe game. That's another try scored by the Harlequins and converted.
Looks like we're at 49-5 here. Get that score up for you as soon as we can. Harlequins continuing to dominate this game. The back play is just exceptional, Art. The interplay between Sands Falk and his centers, the offloading and contact, really opening up a lot of holes for the Harlequins.
One of the keys to that is you see the back line, they're hitting the ball at pace. And what I mean by that, ball goes 10 meters on the kickoff. What I mean by that is when the ball's passed to any Harlequin player, they're running at full speed when they take that pass. They're not standing still. As you see a knock forward call here by Brad Cassetta against the Harlequins.
Didn't look like that came off his hand, Art. I think anything above the knee can be considered a knock forward, and the referee's saying that Mark Fine came through and pushed that ball forward, awarding the scrum to the Banshees.
Well, he might have been mentioning the fact that he was about 3 feet off the ground when it danced forward off of him, so technically it would have been about a hand to elbow level, so maybe he's just playing a bit of a loose interpretation of the rules.
I don't know if Brad's that cheeky. I guess we'll find out.
Must be one of those new experimental law variations.
Here we see a clean out by the Banshees. Clean ball at the back of that ruck. See the Harlequins staying on their feet, staying up for the next defensive line, trying to get their hands to that ball whenever it's available.
And the Banshees are attacking this toward the sideline. Every time they take the ball up, they're taking it toward the sideline to set up that pass to the open field. That way they've got the entire other side of the field to work with. Meanwhile, you've got Harlequins over here on the sideline they have to run. See number 10 from the Banshees going to take that in, brought down.
Looks like the Banshees have switched up their strategy a little bit here. A lot more running with the forwards, keeping the ball close, trying to protect their score and keep the ball in hand so they can maybe get down and do some damage.
That was number 13, Chris Edwards, the choir boy for the Banshees. He took that ball about 15 meters up the field there and just got him some great field position. As you see Ben Smith just tossing number 2, Matt Freeze, the club captain for the Banshees, back. Dom Caston recovered the ball. Bit of a hockey jersey tackle there attempt, but Caston still made about 10 meters.
Big tackle on Caston. He's back to his feet, though.
Penalty against the Harlequins. Looks like he was coming over the top of the ruck there.
Must stay on your feet in those rucks. There's a new referee directive currently, Art. I'm sure you noticed. Making sure people stay on their feet and do not go into those rucks in a dangerous fashion.
Well, that greatly cuts down on the injury potential in the ruck. That means you can't just come barreling into a ruck trying to knock people off. You have to come in a controlled fashion. And again, this game is all about control and flow. That's a very good way to keep the game safe while keeping the flow of the game going. As you see, we have a stoppage here for just one quick second. Now, again, we were talking earlier in regards to the Harlequin history. The club was started in 1975. Nice pooch kick by number 10 there, John Woodyard, recovered by Dom Singleton. He's going to run it up the field, pass wide there.
Looks like the Banshees had some success with the pick and goes, have gone back to their earlier style of play, a lot more dangerous, Art. I don't know if that's the route they should be taking today.
Well, we're about 5 minutes into the second half. The score is the Harlequins 49, the Banshees 5. This is probably a good time to take a chance or two and try some things. Quite honestly, and this is no knock against the Banshees at all. They're a great D2 club. But the score is high. They've got a lot of time here to try something out and try and put some scores on this board. And again, it may look like impossible, but they can actually come back from this. There's no two ways about that. I've seen teams come back from higher scores. You see the Harlequins pass, just dances off Mark Fine's fingers a little bit. Ball's going to come right at our director, who still can't catch, as a matter of fact.
Great
of course,
play
our
by
fine
Garrett
director,
Meyer.
Alex Haddock, our former wing for the West Side Harlequins.
Knock on Alex.
Brad didn't call that one. I'm kind of amazed. Did you see the scrum down here?
That brings up an interesting point. We're watching, obviously, we're watching a great rugby match here, but tell me a bit about the social aspect of rugby, guys. What happens after the match? What happens in between?
We're going to have a stoppage here. The social aspect is usually where everyone falls in love with the sport. I know I did, but both of these teams typically will get together, typically today will be our sponsor bar, the Sin Bin, go have a meal together, sit down, have a few Coca-Colas, a few Sprites together, sit down and really get along. The rugby community is actually very, very tight. All the teams get along very, very well. There's certainly rivalries, and that's what keeps the play interesting as Ben Smith comes around that scrum. But everybody gets along after the match. If you've noticed this play, this is hard play, hard-hitting, fast. So there's really no time for fighting, or you don't see any punching, you don't see any kicking out here thus far. And there's just no place for that here. The game is rough enough and fast enough. You want it decided by skill and competition. So there's really no room for any fighting outside of that. There's plenty of time to fight in here. You don't need to punch and kick. Just play, see who the better man is. And that really brings athletic people together. So after the game, everybody's going to get together, go have some fun, share some laughs, sing some rugby songs. Very good tradition of rugby, lots of songs, most of them kid-friendly. As you see the ball go out for the line out here, it's going to be Banshee ball. It's going to be number 1, Ben Ficklin's going to throw this in.
Looks like
But the Harlequins have actually gone on tour overseas a number of times. 99 we went over. We went to Wales, Ireland, Scotland, France for the World Cup. 2001, the Harlequins went to Ireland. 2005, we actually went to New Zealand. I'm talking the whole team went. And just now in 07, last September, we went to Wales and France to watch the World Cup. Got to see 2 matches over there. Played 3 local matches.
And you'll see pictures from our World Cup tour this year on our website, Art, www.milwaukeeharlequins.com. Check it out. We have photos and videos from pretty much everything we do, social, matches, or really anything else. And we're back to the action here. The second half seems to be a little bit stuttered. A lot of stoppages early on, kind of here in the middle of the field, a little towards the Harlequins goal area. It's like Banshees ball, more pressure, and that ball's out early. Missed pass to the Banshees. Great move over the captain. Banshees move it down, get into, looks like they're getting inside the 22-meter line. Great ball distribution for the Banshees, and they're in a great position here to score if they can keep possession, redistribute that ball to the backs.
Looks like they're down about 10 meters out of the try zone there, and they're the key here, again, is going to be to keep possession and a penalty against the Harlequins. This is going to be huge. The Harlequins are going to have to back up to their own try line here. Let's see what the Banshees are going to do if they can take advantage of this.
See, the Banshees are only about 8 meters out.
And they're not rushing this. The temptation is to grab it, take a quick tap, and just run. They're not going to rush this. They know there's plenty of time on the clock. We're only about 10 minutes into this half. And what they're going to do is they're just going to boot it straight out, it looks like, and they're going to take their chance with a line out and attempt to get possession that way so they can take a good run at the try line, excuse me.
Well, they have a lot of points to make up, and the way the Harlequins have dominated the scrums, this is probably a really good move by the Banshees.
Yeah, it's a great choice. By kicking it out, they can get the line out, hopefully turn that into a maul, drive it over. Now with the new experimental law variations, you know, you can actually pull down a maul in defense, which you couldn't do in the past. So you look to the Harlequins to be defending that way right now.
That's number 20 as the first jumper, Charlie Johnson. He's going to get that ball, bring it down, and they've got a maul. Let's see if they can use their power to drive this in. They're going to set the ball up. It's come out the back. Number 3, Jeff Ray, the prop, and it's going out wide. Number 12's got the ball for the Banshees. He's almost in. Ball popped out. Looks like it was recovered by the Harlequins.
That's
Miscue
number 14,
on possession
Mark
there.
Tobin, and they cleared their lines with a great tick.
Dom Caston takes it almost to the halfway point. Ball's knocked a little bit. Number 20's got the ball for the Harlequins. He's off. Gets tackled just over the 50-meter line.
No, you came in from the side, 15.
Looks like a penalty there.
Coming in from the side?
That's right,
I gave it to
Dylan.
ya.
You have to join those rucks from the back of the ruck, and that keeps things safe. Harlequins came in from the side. Referee didn't like it. Banshees ball.
As number 15, Dom Singleton, will just pick on him as the Banshees are going to go for a quick tap. Wow.
Advantage.
Right through the hole there, but dropped. Recovered by Jeff Noe. And the Harlequins have the ball again. John Paul Kloiber, number 25.
Substitution at halftime. He's a great prop, well experienced, a lot of history in the club.
No, but you knocked it forward.
Actually substituting for his brother, Joseph Kloiber. Kloiber family, such a great tradition on the Harlequins. The club was started by the patriarch Joe Kloiber, the original Joe Kloiber, of course, back in 1975.
He's
Bear.
Go right
Papa
ahead.
Bear. He's still president and active in the club. We see him around all the time.
Of course, he runs our great Sevens tournament every year. This last year we had the 26th annual Lakefront Sevens tournament. Over 65 rugby teams came from all over the Midwest and all over the country, some from as far away as Las Vegas, to participate. We have men's, women's college, men's college, and high school brackets in that tournament. It's an all-day tournament at the Lakefront in Milwaukee during Summerfest. Great time. Best Summers tournament, Summers Sevens tournament in the Midwest. As you see the scrum again, going to the Banshees. Jeff Noe
Noe's all
just
over
right
his-
on top of that.
Now release it, 22.
All over his opposite number there. Banshees have retained it, it looks like. They got a clean ruck there, clean ball at the back. They're going to pick and go again. That's been working for them,
Stay. I'm out of your
keeping
way.
that possession.
Advantage.
They got an advantage there. Looks like Garrett Meyer didn't come in from the side of that ruck. Referee's playing advantage, seeing if the Banshees can make something of this mistake by the Harlequins.
No, I have offsides.
But they're
on
so
two.
far back behind the point of infraction, the referee's not going to let it play out. He's going to bring it back, and we'll start up again here at the
Number two.
halfway line.
This is going to give the Banshees a quick second to decide what to do. They're exactly at the 50-meter line. The Harlequins have retreated 10. It looks like they're going to take a kick for possession. Every Banshee player has to be behind the kicker for this one, of course. Nice, just over the line. Darn good attempt to catch it and keep it inside, but it's going to be Banshee ball.
It's a great kick by the Banshees, having it hit right at the try line. They get the maximum distance.
We're going to have a line out to the Banshees here.
Bring him on. What's his number? 9 for 6. Hold on.
Going down to a set piece. How important is conditioning at this point? It would seem that we're almost halfway through this second half.
Okay, let's play.
Gentlemen with hands on their hips.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of open mouth breathing, a lot of guys trying to keep their air. It's important to, of course,
Advantage
keep your
black.
body straight up to fill your lungs and try and get that oxygen in. These guys are going to be pretty tired in this heat,
Advantage is
but we
given.
do a lot
Get
of,
off him.
the
Get
players do a
off
lot
him.
of conditioning for just this kind of situation. You're also going to start to see the substitutions come in, like Mr. Kloiber, number 25, especially at those front row positions. Guy's been doing the scrums all day long. It's very tiring, very winded, very energy sapping.
Another substitution for the Banshees here is 22 and Bates. Looks like a try is awarded to the Banshees here. That's going to make the score Harlequins 49, Eastside Banshees 10. As the Banshees are going to get a chance to convert it. We've still got a lot of time. There's 25 minutes left in this half. Plenty of time for them to get the score back.
What do you think, Dylan? Does it look like the Banshees have kind of got a bit of a resurgence here?
It looks like they got some wind. It's going to be a little bit difficult, I think, to bridge this gap. It is substantial. But as Art said earlier, stranger things have happened.
Well, to tie into your question about the social side of the game, one of the things that the guys play for, even in a blowout like this, is the respect of their peers. And even though the scoreline might be a little skewed right now, you'll see that these guys are going to play their hearts out. They want the respect from their opponents, win or lose. So they're going to play to the end, no question.
And the coach for the Banshees, his name is Sam Robinson. He's actually from Samoa, and anyone's ever seen Samoa play in the international rugby, they're tough, tough, tough people. He's not going to let them give up. I don't care how much time is left on the board.
49-12, we're going to have another restart coming up. This is just the second restart by the Harlequins. We'll see if they're going to go short, about 10 meters, to see if they can recover their own ball. Most likely in a tactical situation, they're going to go long here, keep the ball deep into the Banshees end zone.
Sam Robinson actually made it to the 1995 World Cup trials before he had to drop out due to broken ribs.
Wow.
And he's now coaching this Eastside Banshee club, so you know they are not only fit, but they are well skilled.
See about a 30-meter kick by the Harlequins. Banshees recover it on the far sideline. Going to ruck that and hopefully get some clean ball. And I'd expect them to be running forward. Another infraction by the Harlequins. Looks like we've had a lot of penalties today, Art.
Yeah, as you see both clubs starting to get a little bit tired here. You know, maybe just unintentional penalties, but it is going to happen a little bit. And, of course, Brad Cassette is going to keep a close eye. The referee does have quite a bit of leeway to call the penalties as he will, as he sees them impacting the flow of the game, how malicious the penalties might be. But at this point, he's got to keep a bit of a tight lid on this game. He doesn't want it getting out of hand at all.
13 is captain.
Is there any motivation for any of those players out there to force a stoppage in the game, Art, maybe? So get a breather or get some wind? Does that ever happen, Art?
No, never. No, that's rarely, and as I make the joke, but you rarely do think about it that way. You never want to cause a stoppage. You never want to do anything that's going to be to any detriment to your team.
Great pickup by the centers there. Some good play between 12 and 13 from the Banshees. Keeping that ball alive. It goes to number 9, their scrum half.
That's number 12, the inside center, Jeff Caldwell. Number 13, Chris Edwards, the outside center. Great passing.
Matt Vesta's a substitute at position 9. He's wearing the same jersey as earlier. So you're going to see a substitution there. We'll see probably a lot of energy from him. Fresh legs, fresh lungs, Dylan. He'll have a lot of energy.
That gets very important at this point of the match. It's hot out there. They've been running a while. As you see John Paul Kloiber getting that ball and a punch. Made 3 very important yards there. Set the Banshees back on their heels, allowing the Harlequins to pass the ball out to Mark Fine.
Again. And here we go, back to the 10, the fly half, nobody around him. He chooses for the chip option. You see the wingers chasing that down. Ball still in play. And the Banshees are forced to kick it out to prevent the try by number 20. That looks like Vince Kelly.
That's number 16, Mitch Malloy. What a very smart play for the Banshees. That ball was in his try zone. He could have fallen on it, possibly bobbled it and caused a score, or he can kick it out and give himself a little breathing room. That's a very, very smart play by Mitch Malloy.
22 drop.
Vince Kelly, our substitute, just played for a few years in Marquette, now has joined the Harlequins. And you'll see a lot from this young man, very promising young recruit. Also doing a fair bit of work on our club, on the Harlequins club for sponsorship. I think he'll be a bright star around here. Keep your eyes on number 20, Vince Kelly. See a 22 dropout now straight into the hands of Dom Caston, our conversion specialist, cutting through the Banshees defense. Looks like he passed it off to Ben Smith, the captain, number 7. And we got the ball coming wide again. Lots of room on the far side. They're going to get it in. One more pass. Mark Fine gets it out to Jeff Hoffman. Big Jeff taking a lot of damage. Got a ruck formed here. Can't see if that ball's come out on the Harlequin side or the Banshees. Referee doesn't like it, though.
Hold on.
Harlequin's a little too motivated in that ruck.
Brad Cassetta is going to converse with the touch judge, or this year assistant referee Steve Sivier. One of the experimental law violations is that the referee on the sideline no longer just calling out of bounds. Now he's an assistant referee. The sir can actually go to him for advice. In this case, Sir Cassetta did not have a good view on it. Steve may have had a better one. They're allowed to converse and figure out what the right call is. Right call is a penalty to the Banshees. They're going to try and get themselves a little bit of field positioning.
Yeah, they kicked it straight out. They're going to have a line out. They're not having much luck in those scrums. They certainly don't want to offer something like that, so we'll see what they can do with this ball. You're right, it's time to gamble. They've got about 22 minutes left in this match. They're not going to be, it's not the time to kick it out and go for possession. They need to get some more points on this board.
I don't know if you guys saw that on camera. That was me. That was me who retrieved that ball, sent it back in there.
Is that what that heavy breathing is, I hear?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought it was the props on the field.
There you go.
My bad, my bad.
There
That was a
you
4-second, 5-meter sprint by Dylan, our
That ball is straight
co-broadcaster.
out the back of the line out there. It's going to be picked up by George Jeff Hoffman. Sands Falk's going to go straight up. They're at about the 5-meter line, the Harlequins are. Let's see if they can keep ball possession. Jeff Noe's going to toss this out.
clean ball, but a little slow.
Jump.
Mark Tobin's out there isolated. 2 defenders, nobody around, and no green shirts. Number 16 comes in to help out.
Support
That's
has
Danny
arrived.
Kurth. Local fireman. Danny's been around the club a long time.
Get off him! Ruck!
Ruck is formed again. Ball's going straight out. Sands Falk once again with the ball. He's just controlled the pace of this game, almost like a quarterback he is. He's just been dishing this ball to anyone that wants to run up and take it.
Another grubber through. Vince is chasing that ball through again. Is he going to get there in time? Looks like the Banshees got on top of it. The referee's there. Yep, the Banshees touched it down ahead. It's going to be another drop. Would have been a dropout, but the referee looks like he's called an offside back there.
That's a penalty against the Banshees. That's a rough place for a penalty. Now they're going to back up to their own try line. And the Harlequins have quite a lead here. Again, the score is the Harlequins 49, the Eastside Banshees 12. They've got a little time here. They can afford to take some time, figure out what they're going to do. John Paul Kloiber's going to take this in on a penalty play. It's going to get dished to Big Ben Smith. And Ben Smith is going to take it in for the try. That's going to make it 54 Westside Harlequins, Eastside Banshees 12.
Well, they're just dominating them in every phase, aren't they, Art?
The Harlequins are just looking absolutely fantastic today. The Banshees have just had a lot of trouble hanging on to the ball. It's not that they've been playing badly. It's just, again, it comes down to ball possession, ball possession, ball possession. And the Harlequins have just done a better job of not only keeping the ball, but taking advantage of the Banshee errors, if you will, and getting that ball at that point. They've had this ball, I'd say, 70-80% of this match.
The Harlequins have also done a good job compensating for the various penalties and infractions.
That's another 2 points. Caston slots that next conversion. That brings us up to 56-12.
I think that's
For the
one.
Harlequins.
I think he's missed one conversion today.
Yeah, you're right. He's slotted 8 already, so he's going to have another day on the scoreboard tomorrow. He's going to be checking that Harlequins website, MilwaukeeHarlequins.com, looking for his name on the score list.
As you saw there, our touch judge, Steve Sivier, running across the field. Fine Wisconsin referee. He's been refereeing in this state pretty much longer than Jesus has, quite honestly. But he's been doing a great job. He is a man that just lives, loves, and enjoys rugby, does anything he can to support the sport. As number 10 on the Banshees, that's John Woodyard, is going to take a restart again. Bounces right to the prop. He's going to pass it. The Banshees are going to see if they can't get something going. Again, 17 minutes unofficially left in this half. Still a good chunk of time left. A lot of time to run around, make some scores.
All right, I didn't know Jesus could play rugby.
He can. Jesus, you know, this is a whole theological discussion. Probably not the best place to get into it on Time Warner Cable Channel 32. As we've got a minute taken here for it looks like an injury. One of the Banshees is taking a minute. He's taking a knee. Looks like we're going to have a substitution here.
Yeah, his colleague number 13 is signaling that they need a substitution.
That's number 12, Jeff Caldo. What a great game he's had, along with number 13 there, Chris Edwards. As much as they've had the ball, they're trying to work it back and forth. The Harlequins just haven't given them a whole lot of opportunity.
Now, what law in the rules, Art, governs this 1 minute break?
Well, the 1 minute's really more of a guideline, much like a stop sign. It's not necessarily a minute, but if you get an injury or you get stung for a minute, you can't quite play, you're allowed to call for a minute. The referee will stop play and he will allow you to either recover or take a substitution. The other side of that is if you're bleeding, you're also allowed to either staunch the flow of blood or take a substitution there as well. No open bleeding in rugby.
No, 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 no. We're not gonna
That's a
do
good
that.
rule.
Do it again.
It's a very good
Very
rule.
handy.
Do it again. No, they got to get everybody.
If you ever see a rugby player walking around with dark tape on his head, there's a good indication that he cut his head open and just doesn't want the referee to see it.
Cut himself shaving, you mean?
Of course,
Probably.
of course, of course.
Shaving his forehead.
Crouch.
Well, some of us, you know. Does anyone really want a unibrow? No. As we see another scrum down here, the Banshees are going to recover this ball. You see Jeff Noe, the scrum half, right on top of it, maybe a little too close.
Yeah, it looks like the referee thought he was a little too aggressive there.
You're not allowed to impede the other scrum halves getting that ball out. You must be behind the ball. You're not allowed to impede him getting the ball out. I, as a sir, actually had to have that clarified to me earlier this week by our referee society, just to make sure. Yes, yes. You're allowed to, you know, it's a very subjective rule, but you cannot interfere with him getting the ball out.
You didn't play scrum half, Art?
No, no. If you actually saw me on camera, I am definitely not the scrum half type. I played prop for about 12 years, which is the prop is the two guys in the front row of the scrum. They typically bang their heads and shoulders together trying to fight for the ball, which I actually started out rugby at 6'3". I'm now 6 foot tall. I'm sure you also started out, Vic, at about 5'8". And, well, we'll just let that one go as we see the line out here by the Banshees going to toss this in. Looks like number 1, Ben Ficklin's going to toss it in again.
Let's see if the Harlequins can compete here. You see Rob Jacobs go up for that ball. Looks like he slapped it straight out of bounds. Came off Rob's hand. I suspect that's going to be Banshee's ball again.
Appears Steve Sevier has his flag in the air. It appears he's indicating that it is Banshee ball, and in fact it is. So we're going to have another line out. Looks like there may have been about a meter or so gained by the Banshees.
Yeah, you're allowed to go up and compete for that ball, but if you knock it out of bounds, you still have to follow the rules of the game.
Again, another subjective rule. You're not allowed to interfere with the other player, but if there is incidental contact in the line-out when you're both contesting for it, that is a referee's judgment call. Referee always keeps the safety of the players in mind. He doesn't want any malicious attacking. As you see, number 8 for the Banshees going up for the ball. That's Ben Johnson. He's the president of the Banshee Club, as a matter of fact.
Referee didn't like something there. He's going to call a scrum down to the Harlequins. Looks like that maybe that ball didn't come in straight. It has to go straight down that tunnel. And he's given the choice to Ben Smith, the captain, on the Harlequins, and he's opted for this line, this scrum down. What do you think they're going to do here? They're going to run it or kick for distance? What's their motivation, Art?
Well, quite honestly, the Harlequins has been running on it all day. There's simply no reason to stop now. You never mess with success, especially in this game. And if your back line is giving you what you need, which in this case is a score of 56-12, then you keep giving it to the back line. You keep pounding it down to Banshees. You know, down to Banshee's sideline here. You never give them a chance to breathe. This game is not over until it's over.
Yeah,
beg your pardon. You know, it's been said that the forwards decide who wins the game. The backs decide by how much.
That's a very good point, Dylan.
that's a way to put it. You know, it also stresses the teamwork of this sport. There's 15 guys out here. They all have to work together, and there's always a rivalry between the forwards and the backs. But you know, one doesn't win the game without the other. Well put, Dylan.
As you saw Sans Falk run that ball up the field. Bit of a miscue there. And another one, Danny Kurth tried to take that ball in. Just about a mishandle. Play got a little bit sloppy in there. Brad Cassette is going to stop it, slow it down. He's going to award a scrum to the Banshees.
You saw Danny Kurth up on that ball so fast. He's a Wisconsin select side player. That means he's selected by the local region to represent Wisconsin. And he's one of the fittest backs we have out there.
Everybody set?
You're going to see a lot from him in the following games. We'll be here another couple weeks. So keep watching Channel 32 if you want to see more Harlequins rugby.
Scrum's going to come together. Banshee's going to recover. Looks like that ball might have scored it straight out there. It's going to be a free kick. And it's going to be to the Harlequins who elect to take it. They're going to swing it out wide. Like I said, they're going to go with what brung you to the dance, and they're going to give it right to the back line. That's big Jeff Hoffman.
George is going to put it out to
Passes
the
right
backs.
around to Mark Fine. Another pass out to Dom Singleton out on the wing there. Looks
There's
like
the
he's got
speed.
the quarter. He's got the speed. He's going to go for another one. He's going to center post this try. And he scores it. Actually went just a little past center post, but he's got such long legs. It's kind of hard to stop that kind of greatness once it gets going. We have another Harlequin try scored.
Brings the sum total to 61 for the Quins, 12 for the Banshees. At this point, I wonder if the Quins are hoping they could just take this score and divide it up and spread it out over a few games.
Well, you know, the Quins are on a bit of a run the last few months. They had an undefeated spring season. They had a great opening match last week. Another great win. So I think they're thinking about putting the points on the board and hopefully going through to a Division II national playoff this year. I think that's what they've got their heart set on. See Dom Caston with the conversion, bringing us up to 65-12 for the Harlequins.
That's another conversion for Caston. That boy has just got the most magical feet we've had on this Harlequin club in quite some time. I think he's missed one today.
You know, in the
Two
spring,
max.
You know, in the spring season, he did not score one try. He had 15 conversions. He's a specialist, no question.
It's not a matter who scores the most tries, it's a matter of who puts up those points. We're about 30 minutes into this 40-minute second half. And again, the score on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel 32 is the West Side Harlequins out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 65. The East Side Banshees from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 12. The Banshees show absolutely no sign of giving up here, though.
I think their backs are a little overwhelmed in defense. They looked a little sluggish getting out to cover some of those defensive after playing defense for the last 40 minutes. I think they're getting a little tired out there. We'll see if they can keep it up for another 10 minutes.
That ball was bobbled just a little bit by John Paul Kloiber, but it went backwards. John Paul, a true veteran, knows you have to catch the ball, so if it does dance off your hands, it goes backward. You cannot advance the ball forward off of your hands in rugby. As you see them running up the sideline here, Dom Caston, pass might have been just a little forward.
If not flat, it was forward.
Dom Caston protesting. He feels it wasn't forward. Referee disagrees, and there's a reason they call him the Sir. The Sir is never wrong. If the Sir tells you the sky is pink, the sky, folks, is pink.
Spoken like a true Sir.
Absolutely.
Great attack there, started by a run upfield by Aaron Young, number 23 substitution. You see him on the open side prop there now on the far side of that scrum in the front row. Great run by him, set it up, quick ball through the backs, little mispass there, slowed the play down. Quins still have lots of energy, pushing on that scrum, twisting it around.
That ball's out.
And the captain, Ben Smith, he's got it. He's going for the line. Pass off to George. Wasn't expecting it, knocked it on. George will be punching himself tonight for that one, Art.
Yes, he will. That hit him right in the chest, too. George just wasn't quite looking for it. It was just a perfect pass by Ben Smith, just one of those rare occasions on a small miscommunication. Something that'll be corrected with many, many, many laps on Tuesday at practice. Practice, of course, Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 8 o'clock. Check out www.milwaukeeharlequins.com for the times, course, or excuse me, for the location of the practice. Of course, anywhere in Wisconsin you're viewing this game or anywhere you happen to see it, if you want to get into rugby, just check out milwaukeeharlequins.com. We have a link to USA Rugby. We have a link to several other teams. Anywhere you are, there's a rugby team in your area. Show up on Tuesday or Thursday. Get in touch with them if you want to know more about the sport. No matter if you're 18, no matter if you're 36, Dylan didn't start playing until he was 57 years old. He looks good now, but that's because he started playing rugby at an old age, fell in love with it. He's been playing. I started playing when I was 20. Vic started playing when he was 5'3", so he was about 10. Any age, any type of shape you're in, show up, just play. It's a lot of fun.
I'd like to thank the local AARP chapter for sponsoring me.
Crouch.
As we see another scrum down here.
You see the Harlequins putting so much pressure. The Banshees really can't move their scrum at all. We're getting lots of clean ball from the Harlequins. The referee didn't like something in there, probably blown it up to keep it safe. But the Banshees just simply cannot control their own ball. That previous play, Ben Smith, it got twisted around, ball popped out, he picked it up, and it would have been a try except for that one pass. Big George going to be looking to correct that, I'm sure, in the next few minutes.
Of course, Ben Smith, a former player for the Racine Raiders, our American football semi-pro team here just south of the Milwaukee area. National champion with them, as a matter of fact. As you see this scrum get pushed, Jeff Hoffman's going to pick the ball up, pass it out to Dom Singleton.
Like
He's got one. Couldn't quite make the pass to Danny Kurth.
Looks like Danny might have been a little ahead of the play there. Pass came out flat and was just a little bit behind Danny.
Of course, Jeff Hoffman, a graduate from University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, a fantastic rugby school. Quite honestly, it could be called a feeder program for the Harlequins. So many of our team members here have come from UW-Whitewater.
Mitch Kaya is also from UW-Whitewater. I think he's been reserved out now, played a great game today.
You see the boys are walking just a little bit slower on both sides of the field.
Jeff Hoffman got a little dinged up on that last play, but he's up. He's back in.
As we see another scrum down here.
Crouch.
This is going to be the Banshees.
Pause.
Quins are going to try and turn them and pick that ball up and go in for another try. There it is, turning there. They got to get it out. They managed to pick it up, but it's dirty.
Ball bobbled again, but recovered this time. Recovered by number 10, who put a boot on it. That was John Woodyard again, the fly half. Dom Singleton gets tackled by two Banshees, still puts the ball behind him. Just falls right into the hands of Dom Caston. He's fighting up the line. Harlequins are going straight to the sideline here. They've made about 20 meters directly toward the sideline. You want to go up the field, but they're just trying to make something happen here, trying to find themselves a hole.
Banshees are getting a little desperate. They dove over that ball, trying to pick it up. Couldn't get it. The referee penalized them. They had to move back 10, didn't do it. The referee, upset again, is going to give the Harlequins another 10-meter advantage. Harlequins now going to take their time up there, let their guys get some wind, make a decision.
One of the things you can do if you notice your opposing club is not moving back 10 as soon as the referee commands you to, is you can take the ball, run into them. That's an automatic another 10 meters.
Watch for the switch here. Look for the backs to come against the grain of the angle here. Oh, looks like they're going with the flow. Sends Falk in for another 5.
Center posts it.
How much time we have left, Art?
We've got just under 4 minutes left in the half here, guys. That's going to make the score the Harlequins 70, the Eastside Banshees 12. The Harlequins are making one heck of a statement here to rugby teams around the area that they are absolutely here to play this fall.
Now it looks like that conversion was charged down and charged down successfully.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's very rare, Dylan. It's not often you see that. Looks like the kicker, Caston, came in a little too close, giving the tall jumper on the Banshees time to block that kick. Well done. Excellent spirit this late in the game with this disparity in the scoreline.
There you see Brett Weber, number 15, on the wing. Yeah, they absolutely, once again, these Eastside Banshees, again, there's 3 minutes left in this game. There's absolutely no quit left in these guys at all. They understand this game is not over yet.
Yeah, you got to have the get up and go at 78 minutes to get up and block a conversion.
Again, folks, it's a perfect example of you don't necessarily have to have all the athletic in the world to come out and play rugby. What you do have to have is the heart. We'll teach you the athletic talent. Unfortunately, the way we do that is we make you run and run and run some more. But quite honestly, that's one of the most fun things about it. When most of us started this sport, we weren't necessarily from an athletic background, but you just grow to love this game to such an extent that you just never leave. We see another line out here.
I was playing full contact badminton before I started rugby, Art. Great preparation for the sport, I got to tell you.
That is a vicious sport.
That's big in Canada.
That's right, that's right. Danny Kurth gets through, passing contact to Dom Singleton, stays on his feet, waiting for support. You see now he's going to try and put it to ground under control.
You hear Brad Cassetta calling, that's a maul. Now it's turned into a ruck. The ball's on the ground.
Clean ball for the Harlequins, a little slow though, giving the Banshees some time to get in position for defense. Ball's recovered by and maintained by the Harlequins. We see another ruck here. They're going to swing it. Looks like wide to the backs again. Sends Falk with the moves. Big hit up top.
Not a lot of backs on that side.
Could be an opportunity here. We see Caston going through. Big pass over the top. A bit of a handling error though.
They hit him
the
so
Banshees
hard
have
with the
recovered
pass.
it.
Hit him so hard with the pass, couldn't quite handle it. Ball's still in play.
Banshees ball.
Number 9, you knocked it.
And
You knocked it
looks like we've gone out of bounds there. The referee's calling a knock on to the Harlequins. Against the Harlequins will be Banshee scrum.
That ball about 30 meters away from the freeway. We'd like to remind you, left, right, left. Safety first.
We've got about a minute here to go on Time Warner Sports Channel 32. Right now, the score is Westside Harlequins out of Milwaukee 70, the Eastside Banshees from Minneapolis, Minnesota 12. We're going to have another scrum down here. It's going to be put in by number 22, Bates from the Banshees. He's going to run around, trying to keep control of it, manages to get it out. Banshees are going to clear it out of their own try zone.
That's a much cleaner ball by the Banshees. Got it back clean to the kicker. Cleared his 22-meter line. Maybe would have liked a little more on that. The Harlequins are going to attack here from about 15 meters out.
Helpful fans going to take the ball.
You can see up on top.
That's the Harlequins coach, I believe, Art.
Oh, yes,
Ray
Ray Meyer.
Longtime member of the club. Once he retired from playing, started coaching. Doing a great job. Is really pushing for this Div 2 playoff season this year. Really looking forward to it.
Dodgeville, Wisconsin, ladies and gentlemen. Dodgeville, Wisconsin.
That's a low ball. Harlequins hold on to it. Now they're going to try and swing it wide. Miss pass picked up by Caston. Dummy
Nice.
through.
Good
Nice
goal.
fake.
No tackle, and he's in for 5. He's just running down the clock, and now he touches it down. The clock continues to run until the game's over. Isn't that right, Art?
That is absolutely correct, and the game is not over until the sir tells you it's over. So that's going to make it 75 Harlequins, Banshees 12. And what may very well be the last play of the game here. When you score that try, even if regulation time is over, you are allowed the chance to convert that kick.
That's right. Even if you're in mid-play, the referee will normally let you play until that ball's gone out of bounds or some other stoppage in the game.
Try and charge it down again. Dom Caston is going to put that through for another conversion.
That's 9 out of 10 for Caston, and that's the match. The
That's
referee's
full
blowing it up.
time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you for watching Time Warner Sports Channel 32. Our final score today, the Milwaukee West Side Harlequins 77, the East Side Banshees out of Minneapolis, Minnesota 12.
That's going to wrap it up here at Nagawaki Park in beautiful Delafield. Tune in again soon. I'd like to thank my broadcast partners, Vic and Art. My name is Dylan. Remember, folks, rugby is the perfect sport. When you have the ball, 14 other people literally have your back. Tune in again to Time Warner Sports Channel 32.
Great pass by
Big
Jeff
move, he's open.
Hoffman. That's number 6, Mike Rudy, running up the field. Look at those long legs. He's got the stride.
All
He's
the
in to
way.
try some.
Tom Caston's going to take a shot at goal here from the penalty, try and get a few points out of it. One of the best goal kickers on the team. Great history with the club. You see he slots that over pretty well, no
One
problem.
common goal of getting it across that try line. And there's Sands' ball. Going to go right through the center post.
Now, let's say the viewers at home are watching this match and they're thinking, I would love to get involved in the local rugby scene.
Well, Dylan, I'm glad you asked that question. And for those viewing at home, the best way to check out the local